Hello Game fans, the Match 3 puzzle game has dazzled me ever since I came across Bejeweled all those years ago, since there's something about the simplicity of the idea which makes it compelling. While more recent entries have gone into the manipulative free-to-play model, there are still some excellent games which do not, so here are my top 10 picks, some of which have other elements in addition to the Match 3. We begin with the not-so-indie Might and Magic Clash of Heroes, coming to us from one Capybara Games of Super Time Force and below fame, although the IP holder and publisher is Ubisoft. I really enjoyed this on the DS, where I much prefer the pixel art visuals as compared to the HD remake, but this version is on Steam and is probably the easiest place to get it. Heroes of Might and Magic is one of my favourite franchises of all time, and this draws upon the factions and units in HOMM5, telling a classic tale of revenge with the usual ups and downs. Here, matching units in lines or columns results in different effects, and there are even clever, innovative ways that matches can be made to charge units up for attacks, and is wholly recommended and would be higher if it was more indie. An awesome pastely entry is Beglitched, where you need to help the Glitch Witch clean up the various computer networks while she is off somewhere else. It's one part Match 3, one part Reverse Minesweeper, and many parts cuteness, and I simply love the look of this. It has an interesting whimsy with a story to tell and is another hidden gem. A smaller title which I quite liked last year is The World Next Door, a narrative game with active puzzle combat. It has an intriguing narrative to go along with it, where you play as a human girl trapped in a parallel dimension trying to find a way home. Of course, there are enemies and hazards along the way, but it has a pleasant art style and interesting characters. Combat has you activating runes on the ground, which is where the Match 3 elements come in, so it's something a little bit different but worth a play. The Legend of Bumble is the prequel to The Binding of Isaac, coming to us once again from the mind of Edmund Macmillan. Rather than being an action roguelite, this instead is a Match 3 roguelite RPG, which is a nice change of pace, although there is still the unmistakable signature Edmund Macmillan toilet humour. Play as a homeless man, Bumble, who simply wants coin, delving into a dungeon in order to do so. There are multiple playable characters to unlock, procedural generation of the rooms, and is certainly worth a look, although there are complaints of its simplicity and overall balance. Ironcast just goes straight out to say it and self-describes as Puzzle Quest meets FTL in a steampunk roguelite, so of course I'm down for this. Pilot your Ironcast mech, make matches, and attack and defend while progressing from node to node. Another criminally overlooked title, this is one to check out if you have never played it, since it is pretty great. You cannot talk about Match 3 games without mentioning the mobile hit Triple Town, which has a premium Steam version without the ads. One part Match 3 and one part City Builder, the objective is to build the largest city possible, where you place an item every turn, which, when grouped in threes, will transform into a more advanced version, so 3 grass tiles into a bush, 3 bushes into a tree, and so on. The iconic bears in this game will spawn and try to block placement of tiles, though of course there are ways to get around them, with the high score chase being the main objective. One of the all-time classic must-plays, Puzzle Quest Challenge of the Warlords, is one of, if not the first game to add RPG elements into a Match 3 game, which has then spawned an entire subgenre of its own. It converts match gems into mana, which can be used to activate abilities, with direct damage dealing skulls, gold and XP also on the board. A rather generic high fantasy setting and story, this is worth a play not just because of its historical significance, but also because it is really a good game. It was recently remastered on Switch, which is a fine way to play it, with other sequels and associated games such as Puzzle Quest 2, Puzzle Quest Galactrix, and Marvel Puzzle Quest also of note. This team did move on and are currently developing and sustaining the live game Gems of War at the moment, which appears to be celebrating its 6-year anniversary very soon.
A new adventure awaits. Explore lost lands full of magic. Gather supplies and create a new kingdom.
You might be surprised to find a mobile game in my top 3, but Puzzlecraft 2 is really fantastic. Even though, yes, it is published by Electronic Arts, but does come to us from a Polish indie developer, AT Games. While there are microtransactions, I was able to avoid these rather easily, with the farming, mining and fishing feeding into an overall city builder. Pretty sad when they stopped updating it, but there's plenty of free content here, which I really love, and have personally spent way too many hours on my phone while the TV was on.
Puzzlecraft 2. The legend continues.
One of the slickest modern titles to incorporate Match 3 elements is Battle Chef Brigade, a gorgeously animated title which mixes Monster Hunter and the cooking competition Iron Chef. It is about battling your way into the prestigious brigade, where you have to literally hunt down monsters for ingredients.
Who's ready to cook their options?
The cooking minigame itself is where the Match 3 comes in and takes a little bit of time to wrap your head around, and this has some of the most delicious looking food in games. We end with a 2-for-1 special with 10 million and You Must Build a Boat, both by the same developer, 88 Games. These represent the epitome of Match 3 games in my opinion, since they have a really compelling one more run gameplay loop. In the first game, the objective is to get to 10 million in score in order to beat the game, with a ton of upgrades, enemies, quest objectives, loot, equipment, and more. The sequel, released 2 years later, is similar in gameplay but has you travelling the world, moving from location to location while building out the various cabins on the boat and recruiting characters to live on it. These two games absolutely hooked me, so they take the #1 spot. To see more of the big picture, check out these awesome videos and I will see you after the jump.